I usually am not inappropriate, but this is a podcast.
Got fired from volleyball factory.
Can't fish out of a house, but I can sleep in my boat.
I drink 392 beers tonight.
Welcome to Get the Net, a fishing podcast that takes a deep dive into competitive events, fishing news, tips, tactics, and most importantly, interviews with some of the most interesting and in-tuned anglers from Canada to the central U.S. We're leaving no stone unturned to bring you the most raw and authentic talk. My name is Jamie Bruce. While my resume says bass, my frying pan says walleye. I'm no stranger to the multi-species realm. Whether you're puttering on tackle, driving the bus, cutting the grass, or killing time in a 9 to 5, we'll try to give you something in every episode to take with you on the water, or at the very least, bring you a few laughs.
I don't know, if you have a heart condition, you might not want to watch another Jamie Bruce fish landing.
All right, welcome back everyone to Get the Net. We got a quality show lined up tonight. We have a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, World Junior champion, Olympic gold medal holder, Mike Richards. He's a local here from Kenora. He's a buddy, and he's a hardcore tournament angler. So we've been waiting for him to hop on for a while. We finally got an opportunity, and we're going to share probably lots of stories with him. He knows a lot about sporting that we don't know. He's super analytical, and so we'll pull him on in a second here. But first, got to remind you, 13 Fishing Wicked Pro. Check them out. We had a lot of good ice anglers from up here in the north work together on this rod, and I think we finally hit her about right. So it comes in a medium and a medium light ice fishing rods, and absolutely beauties. Check those out at Lake of the Woods Sports. The Rapala Mooch Minnow, you've heard a lot of buzz around that. It's been making a lot of money down south and up north. You would have seen at St. Clair caught a bunch of fish on that sucker, and it's finally going to be available to the public, which I'm not that thrilled about, but got to keep the cogs turning. So check those out. It's finally your turn to check out the Mooch Minnow if you didn't get any insider assistance there. And if you're pondering your battery setup for the upcoming season, and that's actually how Richie and I started talking and why I got him on this podcast. He was asking about my Powerhouse battery system, and I was explaining the running gun and everything like that. And what the running gun does is charge your batteries when your big motor's running. So there's, if you're off grid or you just go hard on the troller, or you're having a patio day on the beach and forget your graphs on or something like that, there's a redundancy for everything. So that's the reason we all use Powerhouse and the running gun systems. Sims, check out the new Pro Dry. You put a lot of time and money into fishing equipment. Don't skimp out on your rain gear. Invest in yourself a little bit. The first one I ever bought was in 2013. I didn't have two nickels to rub together, and I, made up my mind at that time that a good rain suit was a necessity if I was going to continue to fish in garbage conditions. I bought a 2013 Pro Dry, and I still have it to this day. I've retired it, but I still run it out at the camp, and got 9 or 10 years of going hard out of that sucker. So there's a new Pro Dry coming out. Check it out. And if you're shopping for boats this year, any power sport supplies, check out WSL Sport. Whole lineup of Lunds. I'm in the Pro V Bass, obviously, but that's the pinnacle of the bass and straight fishing style. There's a lot of other ones you might want to cross over or something like that. Keep everyone happy instead of just the hardcore angler, but I seem to keep everyone happy in the Pro V Bass. We got the tow bars, the seats. I even got a bimini top on the damn thing this year. I'm in full dad mode. And if you're an ice angler like myself, it's the time of year where the ice fishing auger videos I've done in the past have been popping off. So that leads to a lot of ice auger questions. I'm still running the same Strike Master 40 volt that I've always had. I've got the lithium composite flight for the last, 4 years or so of straight abuse. She's fallen off the auger rack a couple times, actually skegged right over the battery. That's why we use Strike Masters. Super reliable. All the augers cut good these days. All pretty comparable there. All the prices are pretty similar, but reliability is what we go for, and that's why you need a Strike Master. And something that also faces a few questions is the electromechanical jack plate I threw on the big green bastard this year. It's the Impulse jack plate. It's all electric. It's major heavy duty. It's got pre-programmable modes and all kinds of crazy cool stuff like that. You can see it in the boat rigging video. But as I stare at it right now, I figure she needs a shout out because it was a damn good solid season on that piece of hardware right there. And it's new year, new me, all that stuff. Don't forget to do your 2025 dried and tagged fish contest. If you had a tag in 2024, she's no longer applicable. And I didn't hear about anyone catching the $10,000 walleye that Tyler and I tagged, or the $10,000 walleye that Jay Siemens tagged. So there's 20 grand for 2 fish swimming around out there, plus another like 50 grand in the rest of them. So you're missing the boat if you're fishing the Wabigoon chain without a tag. That's about it for that. No crazy news on this end. She's just winter in the north, so we're going to coast right into Richie. This outdoor content has been brought to you in part by Nordic Point Lodge. Located in northwestern Ontario, Nordic Point Lodge offers some of the finest fishing Canada has to offer. Whether you're looking for a family-friendly getaway or a corporate retreat, Nordic Point Lodge has you covered. They offer a luxury outdoor experience with 5-star service. Check out the description below for more information. BT Fishing is a northern-born, small-town tackle brand. Focusing on innovating rather than imitating, BT has left a mark on all levels of competitive fishing, from walleye tournaments all the way to the Bassmaster Classic. The full BT lineup is comprised of innovative tackle, carefully crafted using the highest quality components. Check out the Smeltinator jig, Elite Marabou jig, Crusher jig, Clack Shot, Clean jig, Smeltinator underspin and more at sportsheadquarters.ca. We ship across Canada and the US. Use promo code GETTHENET for 10% off all products in the BT lineup. What's up, Richie? How's the new house?
It's good. Yeah. It was nice this year to not have to like get here and then spend a week like getting everything setting up. So we came down before Christmas, actually, end of November, and then went back Christmas, then came back. So it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get out on the water yet?
Not yet. No. Golfed a bunch, but haven't been fishing. The weather's kind of been cold, rainy the first time we were here, and then it's been cold the last couple of days. So I think this weekend I'll get out. I think it's supposed to warm up. Bass should be starting to spawn, and it should be pretty good.
Florida ain't what everyone thinks in January. I think one of the days on the water when I was there with Gussie was the coldest I've ever been on the water. Like,
yeah.
People don't understand when you tell them that. They're like, just palm trees, it's got to be warm. Like, no, like peacock bass were dying in the canals and iguanas were falling out of damn trees.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been that cold, but a couple of years ago, it was in January, but it was the same temperature. I think I was going with Gussie, but it was the same temperature here than it was at home. I think it was like 0 at home and it was like 1 here. And
yeah, the last time I was there, that happened.
Was it? Yeah.
It's such bullshit. It's the biggest highway robbery there is.
Yeah, and then you get into January or February, March, and then it's like doesn't take a break from 30. So
are you going hard at, is Okeechobee still your primary, or do you hop
usually
around?
Okeechobee, just because it's close, and then there's a place, Headwater, I think, or Edgewater, that's like a little bit further, hour and a half north. Just opened like 3 years ago, so it's getting a little bit more beat up, but when it first opened, it was awesome. Like,
that was the Jurassic Park one they were calling it.
Was it? I'm not sure. I didn't hear that, but
is it
probably it was
that farmer's field that's like a shitty dirt road for
miles. Yeah, it sucked getting in, and I was like, I'm such like a baby too, so I was like going like 10, 15 down the road, and people are just bombing past me, and it's just washboard the whole way. But once you get in, like, man, was it good. Like,
yeah, it's worth destroying your boat if it's hanging.
I just left early. Like, I literally got there, so it's like just under 2 hours, but I'd leave super early. It would take me like an hour to go 15 miles probably, just like putting along. And then you get there, and like first time I was there, just kind of like lay of the land type thing. And the second time it caught like 3 8-pounders, 10-4, like they were everywhere. And it wasn't like as built up last year when I went. It was like a ton of hydrilla, and like a lot of it was choked out, that like a lot of the areas you couldn't go that I was before. But a couple of years ago, there was just like nice patches, and you're just like flipping 10-pounders, 8-pounders. Like you could see them swimming around. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's the draw to Florida, and for those dream days like that. I think a lot of people up here don't understand how long you can go without getting like a bite, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. On Okeechobee, I went last year. This happened twice. I went first thing in the morning, so I was there at sunup. It's like 30 degrees, and I had one fish. And finally at 4 o'clock, I was just like, you know what? One fish at 4, and it was like a 3-pounder. Yeah. And you're just like sweating and dying. And Okeechobee, there's no trees to like hide under just for like a break. So yeah, there's probably more days like that than there is like the 8-pounders and 10-pounder, you know, like you'll get those in the mix, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get a Bimini top on that new rig, but I bought a Bimini top for the Lund this year to take, because the youngster, like we'd bring him out a couple times from the camp, and you'd have to put so much shit in the boat to like make a shelter for him. I was like, well, why don't we just strap a Bimini on and just drink the full Kool-Aid? And they're sweet. And then I see John Cox and one of his buddies are running them on the damn tours.
Oh yeah. They would be handy, especially down here. Mark has his Lund, like the soft top on his, and last year in KBI we took 2 boats for the one day, and we were like gonna meet up like kind of just like the north side there or south side of Tug, north side of Little Traverse area. And I guess I was like driving by him a few times because I didn't realize he had the canopy, so I was like looking for like somebody bass fishing basically. And then finally I like literally almost like hit him. I was like, oh, it's you. Well, he's like, you drove by me like a few times. I was like, well, wasn't looking for a guy like just walleye cruising. And
you'd expect his boat to have like vertical rod racks and woolly hat.
Rods straight up and down.
Yeah. Once you go like tourist mode, it's a slippery slope. There's a lot of conveniences that we pass up as bass anglers. Like I feel like there's have definitely been a couple opens I've been at where I've been one of the only guys with a butt seat in the boat.
Oh yeah.
But then like when you go up north, there's a lot of guys that are too cool for a butt seat, and then they're in the middle of St. Clair and just getting their ass kicked like cruiser waves.
Yeah. I don't even know how like you guys do it out there, or like on Lake Ontario. Like I bring the butt seat for like Sioux Narrows, because it just like even like 2-footers going down Regina, I like put it in just because like by the end of the day I'm so exhausted from like balancing basically. And you're just like, I don't know how you guys would do like 10-footers, 6-footers, and just like more the like swaying, you just like get sick almost.
Yeah, the only like we couldn't go all the way out to Lake Ontario when we were there, so we were just in the mouth of the river, so they were like 3-footers.
Yeah,
but on St. Clair, like all the barge or like pleasure craft traffic and everything like that. Yeah. Like when I was driving back, I had muscles that were aching that like I didn't even know existed.
Yeah,
just from fighting it. It's like I played goalie in a Boxing Day derby the other day. That was a big mistake. I was leaking like a sieve, but my quads hurt, my ass hurt, and like all kinds of muscles from trying to like just hop in and go swing.
Yeah. And just things you don't use, it'd be the same thing. It's just like muscles that you just don't even like use on a daily basis, and then you all of a sudden have to use it for a day, and you're just like tighten up.
Yeah. Butt seat muscles. I wonder, like the Johnston brothers, they're the best at it. By far, it seems like. I wonder if they got it from like playing hockey or just from standing out there long enough.
Yeah, like Corey throwing up last year, that would have been me. Like basically every time, like I don't handle those big waves.
Yeah,
Just
there's
like-
probably more to the story. He probably swallowed his dip or something.
Yeah, possible. Yeah, that would do it too. Or
Yeah.
just straight 10-footers.
Well, man, I kind of interrupted your vacation here. I was like, oh, I sent you a text November 2022. And it was like, hey, are you around on Monday? You want to stop by the garage for a podcast? And it was crickets, nothing. And I'm like, that son of a bitch, I guess he's not jumping on. And I was talking to you about batteries the other day, and I went to send you the text to send you this link, and I'd been texting the wrong number.
Oh yeah.
Because I guess and then I saw there was another text, hey, I got a new number in 2020. So I was
yeah, there's been a few people actually that did that too.
Yeah, but anyway, I heard you on the Nasty Knuckles pod.
It's been going well, so yeah, no, all good. I haven't done a fishing podcast before, so
first ever.
Stories. Yeah, I've never done any fishing. It's just been straight hockey. So
wow,
I have to get the lingo down.
Yeah, well, I've had Buff on, and he's easy because he doesn't like talking about hockey anyway.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, I've spent the day in the boat with him, or a few days actually.
Yeah, he won't even watch it. If you're watching TV with him, he'll just skip it. He'll watch The Price is Right instead of it, and then maybe go back.
Yeah, I'm not that bad. I watched hockey. I got back into it now. For years though, I was the same way. For the first 3 years, probably 4 maybe. When I was finished, I was done.
Yeah, if you retire from work, you don't usually read the standing orders the next day at a regular.
Exactly. Especially the amount of video you watch already, and then when you're done, you're just done. But I know guys that when we were playing would go home and fire it up and watch 2 games a night, just that into it. But kind of went the other way there.
Is that getting more and more? Because I can only relate it to fishing, and people are just making it. The guys going for it are just making it way more life consuming. Is hockey already gone through the paces where it can't get any more consuming for guys trying to make it?
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah, I guess personality wise, there was guys even when I played that would watch it forever, every single night, and then there's guys on the other side of the spectrum that would have literally zero idea what's going on in the league. So I was somewhere in the middle, and then I've heard stories of people now that literally that's all they do. Everything is eat, sleep, prepare. You basically finish a game and you're already well, if I eat this or drink this, I have, that'll help me out in 2 days, or I can't eat this because, we have a game in 48 hours or something like that. So I don't know. It would be tough now because there's so much, I guess, emphasis on doing everything. It would just be exhausting, to spend your whole life getting ready for the next thing, not just enjoying what you just did and always just looking forward to the next thing. I think it would just be exhausting. Where I was just the other way, I'd finish a game, I would just go home and eat some pizza pops and just enjoy being an athlete, I guess, instead of just always being ready for the next thing.
Right. Yeah. That's
I can do the same thing.
Fishing's always behind.
Yeah.
So you get to see it first, and then you see this come, and I'm looking at some of these guys that are pre-practicing all year.
Yeah.
Which is fine. If I was 22 and, had no responsibilities and the means to do it, I'd be gone. It's a lot of work. It's not that easy, and you're giving up a lot of things, but I'm what are you guys doing? You're pretty much raising the bar so hard that you're making the job where it's not going to be enjoyable in 10 years or sustainable if you want to have a family or anything like that, because you're just going to have to be trying to keep pace with the bar you just set.
I read an article about I thought it was McKinney, but I'm not 100% on the name. But he had like 1,200 hours on his boat or something like that.
JT Tompkins.
Was it Tompkins? Yeah, and it was just like how long can you go at that pace before you just get burnt out, or it just becomes unenjoyable, I guess would be the problem, or I guess the concern is like if you spent that much time on the water, like I spend a lot of time on the water, and I love fishing, but there are some, like especially like days after tournaments, like I know it's not my job, but where you're just like, it'd be nice to golf this week. It'd be nice to like you spend time with the family. It'd be nice to like do something else. Whereas kind of like what we were saying of like not being able to enjoy what you're doing and just doing it instead of like finding the enjoyment in it, I guess. Like it just must be exhausting just to like wake up every morning and like, I guess always thinking of the next thing. But I guess if you're fishing, like,
yeah, I mean, like I'm guilty of it on like map study and like research and stuff like that. Like where I've spent an unthinkable amount of time like watching Bass Live and MLF, which is painful to watch, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't watched them for a while. I used to love watching them when the final like hour of when they caught every fish. Like there was nothing more intense when there was like 30 minutes left and they were like catching them, and then they like 2 or 3 people are all within like a pound, and it's like, oh, these guys caught one, now this guy, and they all know too. Like, man, that was some of the best TV. But other than that, I'm kind of over it. If it was like 30 minutes, that 30 minutes like is like the most intense like fishing you could watch. Like I get nervous watching, because like even with no skin in the game, you're just like every cast, every flip, everything, like little whatever could just produce $300,000. And then on the other side of it, like, you know where everybody is. So like that 30 minutes is like some of the best television there is.
Yeah. And I didn't mean it like from that standpoint. And I like when they go to new lakes and everything. I'm more like, when you're trying to do research and you got to watch that, it's like, so painful. There's no map. There's no Zona like going to probe everyone about what the actual deal is. Yeah. Cause like he's like a private investigator. It sounds like he doesn't let you bullshit him.
He just like knows, or he just like
he'll call everyone like that's catching them and probe them and take everyone's different stories. And like, I think he's a little more sneaky than people let on. So you actually know the actual program instead of just, what
he's
someone
probably good enough too, where he knows like if you're like, I was just throwing a jig here, he'd be like, no, you weren't.
Yeah. I've seen him call people out on the air. Like, it was Lee Livesey caught one on a square bill, and he thought the camera was like off, and he put it down, and he picked up because I'm like combing this stuff, right, for any like little subtlety. Yeah. And he picked up I don't know, some sponsor bait that was a flipping beaver. And he's like, I just caught one on that. And Zone was just like, no, you didn't. Like, called him right out on live.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's what made him the best. Like, he was the best to watch, best to listen to. Like, he would, like, for a guy like me who was more just watching it for like the enjoyment of it, like, he was just like so good at like explaining like the little things that, like, I guess for me it's more like trying to learn something, and he was really good at like giving you that little nugget of like what the anglers would be thinking. He was just like so good at it. It was just like awesome to listen to.
And if you weren't someone trying to learn something, there was so much entertainment value that he'd provide that you'd still keep it on.
Yeah.
Like, it's the ultimate combination. I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
Yeah. Yeah. He was awesome. It is interesting. Like, I always like watching those shows. I always like wonder like how much they're, like you said, like, I just caught one on this, and then, camera goes away, grab another, and you throw whatever else. And then, because you can't like help but like, I know you're not supposed to, but you're just like scrolling Instagram after, and it's just like Jeff Gustafson caught it on this, and then you keep going. But
yeah, and people are just more onto it now.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here, Richie?
Yeah, I have full bars here.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a garage corner in Kenora asking a guy in Florida if he's got bars. I'm not sure what the story is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people are just onto it now. Like, you can't just put a picture of a bait hanging from the bottom jaw of a fish's mouth where it never is and expect.
Yeah. Like, hang it there. Like, oh, that came out a little easy. Like, you got that.
Yeah. Man, they just put out a new rule. All the opens, like all the Bassmaster final rules for 25 just came through my email the other day. And one was you must allow Bass access to your electronics, because the two, Taku Ito and Koya Fujita, no go. They'd put the screen over the back. They all have 8616s where you can plug into. So they're plugging into mine and Shakurit's at St. Clair, and they went to do Taku's, and he's just like, no. No. But now they have to. So there's there's going to be, obviously they're protecting someone. Something.
Yeah.
They've seen Bass Live before. They see that everyone else's bait's on there. So they're obviously doing something,
Yeah.
It's probably subtle, but yeah, the gig's going to be up. It's harder and harder to get sneaky.
As they should, though, too, because like as a viewer that just watches it for like entertainment, like those, like the classic that Gussie won, where you could like see the fish come up, like it does get slow when they're just fishing offshore and there's nothing going on, and then all of a sudden they catch a fish, put it in the boat. Whereas like that classic, the opens on St. Clair where Robert G had that little, I think it was a rock or whatever, and those fish, like, it makes for such better television when you get like a visual of what the anglers are doing. You can see what the fish, like what they're throwing at or how the fish are reacting. Like, it just like Bass Live can get slow a lot of the times, but when you have like a picture of what they're throwing at or what they're seeing, it just like, there's no like downtime, I guess, or it eliminates a lot of the downtime with just that picture of what they're throwing at, so you can get at least an idea of what they're doing. So that's probably a good rule for.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a no-brainer to let them plug it in. Like, I wouldn't put out a ice fishing video without being able to see the sonar, at least for part of it. Like, I just, how long can you stare at someone's back for? Especially someone that's like in the game. Can you imagine if you were, obviously hockey's on a different level, effort wise, but like, can you imagine if you had to like try to entertain someone as you're trying to figure everything out?
Yeah, it'd be like baseball, not seeing the pitcher like throw. It would just be like the hitter standing at his back, and all of a sudden it comes and then the ball's gone, and you're just like, what did I just see? But like, just like those shots, just make everything so much interesting. And like I said before, as a guy that watches to kind of like learn something, it's just like you get so much more out of watching, and it's like tough to watch an 8-hour day of fishing. Like, I've definitely done it, but it's hard to sit there for 8 hours, especially like if Gussie's not in it and you're just watching fishing to watch fishing. It just like it allows you to like come and go kind of a little bit easier than it would be if you're just like stroll up, you see a guy in the middle of Lake Ontario, and then all of a sudden, he goes on an hour of not catching anything or whatever, like St. Clair or something. If there's 30 minutes of downtime, you don't get to see a fish catch. At least now you'd be able to like tune in and at least see whether he's fishing weeds or fishing a boulder or whatever he's fishing.
Or watching people get denied.
Or at least you're seeing something on there. At least you're able to see what he's fishing instead of just like watching a guy, just the back and him
going to Texas next month. The first opens on Rayburn.
Oh,
And that was like one of the first few lakes to like blow up with the minnow thing in recent years, the minnow scope. And it just sounds like it's bassing for bucks down there right now, like just a minnow-a-thon. So I cannot imagine how many denials there's gonna be.
It's just giant fish too. Like
Yeah. Out of the Toledo Bend, they just look like a hot air balloon, and they're just like, I'll follow you like halfway to the boat just so you know you had a toe-to-toe with a 10-pounder today.
Yeah. God, I get annoyed sitting at home and basically just a practice day when just keep coming up and down, up and down. I can even imagine if you see this big blob, it's like a 10-footer. Yeah, a couple $100,000 and points on the line just come up and down and be breaking rods.
Yeah. Can't imagine someone who's on live like all the time, like Corey or someone that has to not swear every time you get denied. I sound like absolutely out of control maniac when you're getting denied. Like my co-anglers are probably just like, what's the matter with this guy? But
I don't know how much you'd be able to air on Fox Sports.
None.
Sitting there and a blimp comes up from the bottom and it just follows you halfway and then just, okay, see you later. And that happens like 50 times a day. And you're just like, by 3 o'clock, you're ready to break rods.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So on a percentage level, how competitive are you when if you're fishing KBI? What kind of I've never been around you in a tournament situation.
Yeah.
What are you just doing it to have fun and like take her easy? But I've kind of seen you going hard, or are you trying to like maxed out?
So before, when I first started, and basically the whole time I played was more fishing tournaments just to like force like 3 days, like 3 full days on the water. And when I played, I didn't like pre-fish all that often, maybe a little bit more near the end of my career, but beginning of the career, it'd be like a Tuesday. We'd go out from like 9 to 4 and then like right into the tournament. So now looking back on that, it's not even surprising at all why we were like 100th, 130th every single tournament. But recently, like since I finished playing, I would say probably like 100% days, like not intense where like you're not enjoying it, but intense where like you're given, like you're not like just out there for a fish, like you're really given, or especially like the last few years, like of kind of getting tired of getting her teeth kicked in and being donators to like, okay, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like full days, and then in tournaments, like giving her like one spot to the next. My issue is like sometimes I fish too fast. So like that's kind of the issue that I have is I start going, especially like if it's like noon and you got like one in the boat, like the fish don't even have like a chance to like catch my bait or eat my bait because it's just like in and out. So but yeah, we're going hard. Mark's a little bit more laid back, like he's still giving her, but he's a little bit more like relaxed than I am. I'm just like, gotta go here, gotta go there. So it's a good little like combo of like, let's like actually fish here and try to catch something instead of just like getting our baits in the water and yanking them right back out. But probably more KBI 2 than bassin for whatever reason. We just haven't like figured that out yet. So we're still kind of learning. Like when I was playing, like we'd never got to fish in the fall. So it was just like I think our first one was during the lockout in 2012. We didn't weigh in once. It was just like 2 fish, 1 fish. And it was like colder back then. Like the first one was like a morning of like frost. So it was a little bit more deeper. And then we started going shallow And then we're like, okay, well, then you were doing well. Stooner was always doing well. So we're like, okay, well, we got to try to figure out this deeper bite. And then we went deep, and now like there's so many boats deep that we're like, maybe we should try back shallow.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's like pulling out of the stock market, and then she finally swings around.
Yeah, that's exactly
over
it.
here.
So we haven't quite dialed in that tournament, but KBI, we've been steadily getting better. When I finished playing, we started like really exploring like all of Lake of the Woods. So like that obviously helped, and just like spending more time, more just like days on the water. Whereas like when I was playing, it was more just going out to catch fish. And now it's more like, well, let's go, down by the river. Let's go Obabicon. Let's, like just like trying different areas and fishing. So percentage wise, I'm not sure how much to put, but we're giving her out there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you were, because I've run into you down way out of cell service, just floating around. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And to be honest,
and your results are showing it too. Like in the
Yeah.
last 5 or 6 years, like, you went from a lot of like 10 to 12 bags to like, you're going to get, you can put you down for at least 1 or 2 17 bags in every 3-day tournament now, like consistently.
And that's more just like pre-fishing before was like I said, like a Tuesday, and we would just like go out, fish a couple spots, didn't even really know what we were looking for, just like basically out there to fish. And now it's like, Sunday 6 to 6, or 6 to 7, Monday, Tuesday, same thing, and then Wednesday up until we can. But like, there's more time put into it, more effort and stuff like that. And then obviously, like the more you learn the lake, the more tournaments you start doing, the more I guess you're able to, I don't know, make decisions on the water a little bit better, instead of just like, I caught a fish here before, let's go here. You're just kind of more like, I don't know, let's go try this. I've been here before, nothing there, but let's just, go give it a couple casts, and then, a little bit just more confident, I guess. Whereas before it was just out there just to be out there, I guess. So, which is also probably more frustrating too, because now you're like out there spending so much time, and then like
you also started in like the most competitive, well, not like the most, you started in the most competitive tournament in Canada, like hands down.
Yeah.
People don't understand, if you're like on the road or traveling around for a year and you're not like keeping up on everything, like you're not going to do well in it. It's so like, it's all we think about all year for some. Like I spent 8 years, that's all I would think about, like when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. And that's where, like, that's kind of where we are now, is like the whole goal was to be in the boat parade. So like for basically when I was finished in like 2017 to like 2 years ago, so 2022. So for 5 years, it was basically just like, how do we get in that parade for the most part? And then the 1 year we were close, we had a crappy first day and then 2 really good second days, and we were kind of right there. And then we always like, you look at all the past standings. So like to get into the top 10, you need 17 and a half, or last year it's this. So then you kind of like go out, even like to go out in July, like mid-July, we'd be like, okay, well, let's go. Like the one day we went down to Obabicon a few years ago, and it's just like, let's just go see, just in case we're down here. And and then we get in there and it's just a gong show, and we're like, okay, let's get out of here. But at least
party's over.
I don't think we need to be doing this, but at least like you're like at different parts of the lake. So then, if you are there during the tournament or in that area, you can like, go over there pre-fishing, where you're not spending so much time pre-fishing. Kind of like looking where the boulders are. At least you know where they are, and it's more, less time consuming to just go try a couple rocks instead of go and do a whole shoreline. So
Yeah, you're getting analytical about it.
Yeah.
You're not just Bubba fishing anymore.
Yeah, you're not just going down there for the day. Like it's especially like pre-fishing, where like pre-fishing, like is similar to like tournament fishing. Like you're out there for a reason and doing it. So you're not just going out there to, like, we're not out there just like hanging out. Basically, like we're trying. So, but it's crazy. Like the 1 year. The 1 year we were outside the top 10 where we had the crappy first day, we had like 17, just over 17 and just under 18. And we still weren't. And had 15 the first day. And then the next year, I think, or maybe 2 years after, it was like 15, 16, 17 or something for the top 10. So like every year we're like, well, what do you need? So we're not like, I'm not good enough yet to like fish the lake and then give my own like assessment of like, all right, well, 16 and a half this year might get us into the top 10, or might, like a few years ago with the high water, we were just under the assumption that, 17 and a half a day. So then we go out for practice and we're trying to catch 17 and a half a day. And, next thing you know, the tournament rolls around and 10's like 16 and a half. And we're like, well, we're not even like, I could go wherever else to catch, 15 to 16, but I don't think I can get 17 there. So not good enough yet to like gauge how the lake is that specific year. But
I don't know anyone that can like have her that dialed. To be like, it's going to take 2 pounds less to win a day this year or whatever.
Yeah. But like even like that year that it was like high water, I was talking to people after and they were just like, I didn't think it was going to be like, whether they're just, blowing smoke or whatnot, but they're like, I'm not sure. We didn't think it was going to be as much to get into that top 10 this year. And, we're out there trying to catch 3.5, 4 pounders when like 3 to 3.5 pounders would have been ideal or good that year. So it's just like some things, like some years that you're just get frustrated with the, I guess, like variance of the lake, I guess. And then like that opens a whole new like level of problems for us of like high water. Like, I just learned all this normal water. Like I don't know how to fish any deeper, or do I go shallower, or like we never had that like teenage years where we're like spend 15 hours on the water, like kind of learning where they go, stuff like that. So because like Mark didn't fish growing up, I didn't fish growing up, so like I didn't start fishing until I was like 20, 21. So then like we missed all those like teenage years of like.
Yeah, I didn't get them either, man. I moved to Kenora from Dryden, like when I was 15 or 16, and like, I'd be so hardcore walleye fishing, it's a totally different world, but I never got around bass or anything. And then I remember I went on Rabbit Lake with Carson Dubchuck and Connor Burton. And like I thought I was a pretty good angler at the time. Yeah. And like the Reynolds boys too. And I'd never seen largemouth before, and like they tanned my ass so bad. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like all these different, I was like, I got a jig and a crankbait. Like that's all I need for walleye fishing ever. Yeah. And like these guys have boxes full of shit. They know when to throw this one. They know this. They set the hook harder than anyone I've ever seen. Just so like trying to play catch up with that was like literally had to go and grind her out on Rabbit Lake. I had an old battery, an Optima battery. I'd bring it home, charge it every night. And one of our shop teachers gave me and Carson a boat in high school. So I had a trolling motor on it and would go to Rabbit every day, until we're lucky to have that kind of playing ground, but it sucks playing catch up. Yeah, it does. But, it is what it is. It's just like you hear stories of like,
like even, I mean, Gussie's the extreme, but like Gussie fished for the bassing for bucks for like 30 years or something, or 25 years this year. It's like, I haven't even been fishing for that long. And he's been fishing this tournament for, like he's obviously the extreme, but so you just try to like, obviously do the best you can. But, my first rod was like a 7-11 flipping stick, because I went out with Gussie one day and we just like hammered him on shoal flipping. So I just went out and bought the biggest, strongest rod ever. And that was it.
Everyone got a pool cue first.
What's that?
Everyone's first flipping stick was always 10x heavier than it needed to be.
Yeah. Pool cue actually is probably, this thing was bigger than a pool cue. It was insane. So, but put her together, dialed now.
How crazy is it that a couple Stanley Cups and a Bassmaster Classic trophy came from the same town of a population with 15,000 people?
Yeah.
And a number of other athletic accomplishments, like just Abby Dent this summer. Like, is that, or am I just pumping that up in my head just because it's our town and we're proud of it? Or is like there something exceptionally different about this area that the bar's so much higher on a bunch of these sports?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest with that. I know, like, I've had that conversation with people before about, like, I guess like hockey players, there's a lot of them from like different small towns across Canada, but then like to throw like classic champ, and then like you said, Abby Dent, like Mike Smith. There's been like different athletes through different sports, which is probably like, I wouldn't say Kenora is exactly like dumps a lot of money into like local sports, I guess. And then like to see like Mike Parisian going away for baseball, same type of thing, is like, I don't know what it is, but there seems to be a variety of sports and a variety of different people at really different ages too. Like Gussie's older than I am. Abby's obviously younger. Mike Smith was like years and years ago, but like it is pretty wild to see like that many different people from 15,000 area.
Well, and the weird thing is there's no like, none of you guys were just, okay, they made it to the show and now they're fillers.
Yeah.
It's like, that would be a different story if like Gussie was just on the Elite Series and getting 63rd in every event. And, you got drafted for, and played for 4 years as on the third line. Like, both of you hit the pinnacle of the game. You hit it a few times.
I mean, Gussie, same thing, classic, biggest in the sport, and then another championship at same lake, but same, different tournament. It's pretty crazy. It is wild, like to see the different, like, I don't know if it's just Kenora, but like I'm sure other places kind of do the same thing, but like the amount of support that you do get as an athlete or somebody that goes away is pretty wild there. Like during those Stanley Cup runs, I would get like pictures sent to me of like how crazy it was in Kenora. I remember when Gussie was doing well in those tournaments, like the coverage, the people that were supporting him. So I think it is something to be said with that of like when you do go away, it probably, I don't know if it's incentivizing more, but it definitely like shows
you don't want to screw up.
It gives you a little bit more jolt, but also like shows younger kids that like you can go out and do whatever you want, whether it's fishing, hockey, and then you get that support from your hometown. It is pretty unique, I think. So like, I don't know who the next person's going to be. Like even Abby, when she was away this summer, you seen like everybody like across town talking about her, pulling for her. And I think maybe that next young girl or boy in town sees that and then, obviously can work towards something. And I guess, know what's possible from a small town in Kenora to get to whatever stage they want. I don't know if that's just a cheesy way to look at it or if it's actually true, but like you don't really think about it. And then when you're away, even with the first time at World Juniors, you see how much the town gets behind you. And then you go back, you like going back, and then it just like incentivizes you to like keep doing well and wanting to do well for your hometown and be proud of your hometown, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was with Gussie at the first open I ever went to, and it's not like I won it. I got third, and I couldn't even, you could swipe and there are endless messages. And I was like, how do you like deal with how do I even get back to these? And he's like, man, it's crazy. Like how many people follow from Kenora and from the area.
Yeah. Like if you went on your like Instagram after a tournament and there was like a little like logo of where people were that were like commenting or liking, there'd probably be 15,000 either comments or likes on everything. And there'd just be like Kenora everywhere. Like it's
and then
wild.
if like, maybe the guy that got second was from Gunnersville, Alabama, and his mom and his sister would send him a text.
Yeah. That's that is one of the better things. Like obviously like Toronto and like these major cities have probably a little bit more in terms of like infrastructure for that sport or for whatever sport. But when it comes to like the support that you do get, it is nice to be from like a small town and
somewhere like Toronto, you'd be able to pick your horse that you want in the race.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where in a small town you just get one. And the decision's just made for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you support that, but you also are like us athletes would be proud to be from Kenora, and then the people from Kenora would be proud that that athlete is from Kenora. So it kind of works both ways, and it's
right. Well, nice. I got a proud Kenora story for you. Like I said, I moved here from Dryden when I was 15 or 16. Heard the name lots, watched the World Juniors and everything. I'd never seen you in person or anything like that. And when I was 17, I worked at Haps at the bar.
Yeah.
Couldn't drink there yet. You only had to be 16, I think, to like work in a bar. So whatever, I was a bouncer there.
Yeah.
And it must have been like the first season that you signed. I don't know if I've ever told you this. But it was the first time I ever met you. You were twisted up like I would be too. I'd be first year in the show, and you'd come back to your hometown bar, and someone put a smoke in your mouth and lit it. Like at the bar, and you're just like, it's not like you pulled it out or anything. I was like, all right, well, you're gone.
Yeah.
And I just came and grabbed you by the shoulders, and you were just like, like pretty much limp, like still on two wheels, and just walked you outside. And I came back, and Danny Hall was like, huh. He's like, that was pretty fucking bold. I was like, what do you mean, man? Like, if you would have saw that, you would have blown a gasket. He's like, oh, that's the local hero, bud. That was Mike Richards.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I guarantee he's not going to remember me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. That was our introduction.
Yeah. The things you must have seen as a sober person in Haps has got to be just stories. You should write books.
Oh man, it was the best job ever. It was me and Max Schuessler.
Oh yeah.
And I was posted up on the dance floor right by the DJ booth and just stood there, and usually not much would happen over there. Not really much would happen at all.
Yeah.
But you would just you'd get to see all the dynamics weekend after weekend.
Oh yeah. That place, like the lines that used to to get into Haps were insane. I just still every time we go there for brunch, and it's just it doesn't even look like the same place, just because it's just the line was halfway out the door into basically the parking lot. there'd be like 50 people in line, 1,000 people inside. You couldn't even move. You would like go home. You would absolutely just like reek like cigarette smoke for like a week and a half. It's just a wild scene.
Oh man, yeah, I remember telling Dan, I was like, "We're gonna need life jackets for some of these people at the back of the line." Like, I don't think it can go any further, man.
Right up the MS Kenora ramp.
And like, I don't know what they're doing. 108 people back with 28 minutes of bar left.
Yeah,
there's not 100 people leaving before.
No, not before 2. Yeah, that place was something special.
It truly was.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got to see that for a couple of years. Now the poor kids have to go to like shooters if they're feeling adventurous, and that's like
and
and they kick you out at midnight or whatever.
Beer,
yeah, the driveway tar. People love it though. Everywhere I go, man. Like I was just in Thunder Bay, and like it was on tap everywhere.
Was it?
You run into people in Toronto with Bruco shirts on, and like, they love it as long as you don't get exposed to it that often.
Yeah, you drink wine and you're hungover for a week, but
yeah. So what's next, man? What's you got a setup in Florida? You've been doing that for the last probably 10 years.
7 years now. 7 years we've been down here. So yeah, not much. We fish down here, golf a little bit more than fish during the winter, and then fish a little bit more than golf in the summer. And yeah, be nice to try to get out here hopefully this weekend or the next week and try to catch some real big fish. And yeah, that's really about it. No plans for the immediate future.
Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah.
Are you guys still in the farm program?
Yeah. We have 2 horses down here, and then there's a lady that lives at the house back home. She does an incredible job kind of watching the horses. We put hay out and everything, so they're pretty self-sufficient other than like a few things. So
do you ever climb onto those things? Like we talk about wave muscles and goalie muscles, like that must be nuts, hopping on one of them suckers for an hour or 2.
Yeah, I've done it once. Before we came down here, Kate gave me like, so we came down here, it was like not an ultimatum, but like, we'll go to Florida. She hired a guide, so we went out on Okeechobee. This was like 2017.
Yeah.
And we would go, but I had to ride a horse. So we did that. We came down, fished 2 days, and went for a trail ride, just some place inland here down in Florida. And that was the only time, like none of the horses that we own I've ever been on. Just this one horse in inland Florida, and just went around this little canal and this little path, and that was it. They're just like, there's just such big, strong animals. I just do not trust them to not kick me off or do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No
Especially
trust.
if you just watched the last season of Yellowstone too.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's funny too. Like, I've never been around horses before. Kate's just pushes them out of the way, like throws them around, manhandles them, and I just like 10 feet radius. Don't go near them. I'll put the food out. I'll do what I need to do, but I'm not in that world.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were hopping on that saddle, and that was add into your pursuits too.
No. All the horses she gets are like the biggest horses basically in the whole stack. So it's no, not for me.
Is that like, do they level up? Like when you get real good, do you get a bigger horse?
No, not usually bigger. Like the smaller ones can jump just as high. It's just like, I don't know if she's just got like a soft spot for the bigger ones or if it's just like a coincidence thing. But the 2 that we brought down here are definitely like big animals. And the one doesn't like being like touched like on the head. So every time I like go, he kind of like leans back, and I'm just waiting for him just to kick me in the chest. But
yeah, you might have to pad up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm not going to hold you any longer. I've had you for an hour out of your winter.
Yeah.
You're playing the game right down there, because I don't need to tell you how bad winter sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I was home for Christmas. It wasn't even cold, and like you just get like soft not being in it daily. So
Every year that goes by, you get softer too.
Yeah, and then like I go back and I'm like basically have my like winter -30 gear on, and you know, like everyone else, it was like -5 when I was home. And everyone else just has like a light fall jacket, and I'm basically like head to toe like full winter.
That's when you know it's time to go. Like I don't
Yeah.
need more clothes.
Yeah, you can't throw anything else on, so I gotta get out of here.
Okay, man. Well, send me some pictures from Okeechobee. Don't dust up that new boat on the shitty road to that other lake either.
Yeah. I'll take it, so.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
It's always good to chat with you, and I'm sure we'll see you around soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay,
Have a
cheers,
good one.
pal. See you,
Cheers.
man.